Hi, welcome to Kick-Ass Switch, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching another episode of Every Which Way. This time featuring Sean Croxton of Underground Wellness. And what's really fun about this interview is that we cover a lot of ground. We get to talk about health, which is his specialty, although lately he has been branching out more into the realm of personal development, which you know I'm such a fan of, and I know you're such a fan of. So we got to talk about that, which was fun. And then he also shared a lot of great tips for starting an online business, which is perfect because all this month I have dedicated to biz witchery and starting your own online business. So toward the end of the interview, stick around for that because he really goes off on a cool, informative, inspiring rant about putting yourself out there that way and starting your own online business. So without any further ado, here is the passionate, inspiring Sean Croxton of Underground Wellness. Yo, what's up, Sean?
Yo, what's up? What's cracking, Joanna?
Welcome to Every Which Way. I'm so excited to get to talk to you today.
I am excited to talk with you as well. This happened really fast, huh? It's like,
oh my gosh, it was so exciting. I wrote to you, and then like 2 days later, I think I've got you here on Skype.
Yeah, I said, why put it off? Let's just make it happen. Let's just do the darn thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sweet. And I had to open with yo, because the first time I ever heard you, and you did that, I was like, what? I think I was just going through like random things and clicking, and then that caught my attention. I was like, who is this person? And you always do it now, and I've been listening to you for a few, maybe just a couple years, a while, every single podcast, and when I hear you do that, it always just makes me smile.
Thank you very much. Some people hate it, but then other people love it. It gets your attention, you know what I mean?
It does.
Not very many health shows are going to be like, yo, what's up, y'all? Usually they're like, hello, everyone, and welcome to Underground Wellness. Today we're going to be talking about whatever. Like, that's boring. That's no fun.
Yeah, I love that personal, I can really feel you when I'm listening to the podcast, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because over the course of listening to you for a couple of years, I was just like, this guy is kind, he's passionate, and everything that I'm like always talking about on my website about, you know, creating the kick-ass life of your dreams, you've done that for yourself, and you always have the best attitude. I love that.
I try.
Yeah.
Why be mad about stuff? You know what I mean? I could kind of just let it all roll off. And, yeah, I mean, I love what I do. It's a whole lot of fun. I've been able to just kind of weirdly create something that I just really like doing. And, you know, it makes a good living and it helps a lot of people. So it doesn't really get a lot better than that.
Exactly. Right. And you started like 7 years ago on YouTube. What has that journey been like? Because now you've got like the #1 show on Blog Talk Radio. And I know starting off on YouTube, it can be like kind of bumpy and weird when you're first finding your people and finding your voice. Like, what was that like for you?
It was fun. It was challenging. It had its obstacles. It had its rock bottom moments. It was different. It was different. I think when I joined up on this whole online thing, I think it was like late 2006, and I started Underground Wellness in November 2007. There was no blueprint for this. There was no book for this. It was just kind of like, go out there and show them what you got.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what I did. Just put out really good content, at least what I thought was good and entertaining at the same time. And, you know, there was subscribers just kind of rolled in. And back then, I mean, if you had like 600 subscribers on YouTube in like the late 2006, you were kind of a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was great. You know, had my obstacles I had to get over in terms of dealing with haters on YouTube and getting over my money issues in terms of like turning it into a business and things of that sort. But, you know, for every breakdown you have a breakthrough, and I had lots of breakdowns, so there was lots of breakthroughs and lots of lessons and, you know, failures and setbacks and things of that sort. But, you know, in the end, it's been really good. It's just like I'm one of those guys who goes, if you quit, one day you're going to have to, several years from now, you're going to kick yourself in the ass, going, gosh, what could have been? And so I couldn't live with that, and I just kind of kept on doing it, and here we are.
Yeah. It kind of echoes my feeling that YouTube is like an accelerated spiritual program because it shows you all your stuff, like people kind of crawl out of the woodwork, and especially when you start making a name for yourself, people start projecting things onto you, and it really shows you what you're made of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does show you what you're made of. It teaches you how to have thick skin. Mm-hmm. That skin just kind of gets thicker and thicker over time, and it teaches you what to focus on. Focus on the positivity. There was a time in my life several years ago where I was just focusing on the negativity, focusing on the haters and the negative messages and the racist stuff that people would send me and the hate mail. And this is like, damn, dude, what the hell's wrong with you guys? I'm just making videos about health. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
But, now I feel compassion for those types of people. I always say that, or actually not always, but just up until maybe the last 2 years, I've just kind of thought, hey, you have to have compassion for those people, because I've been in some really bad places in my life, like, depression, anger, anxiety, things of that sort, but never did it ever get so bad where I felt like I needed to go online and bash people and try to bring them down. So I can only imagine what those people are going through. So they have my compassion. At the same time, they're, what I call my unpaid marketing force. Because
hey, say that.
Yeah, I mean, any publicity is good publicity. So if people want to talk to me and tell everybody how much they hate me, go ahead, because you're putting my name and my website in their head, and they're going to go to my site and they'll see that I'm not so bad, and they'll sign up for my email list and, become part of my community. So if you want to talk shit, go ahead. Pardon my French.
Yeah, and I think, you have an authentic passion and kindness that comes through, and even your audio, just in the podcast, but in everything you do. So if somebody wants to be like, well, who is this asshole, Sean Croxton? And then they go see for themselves, they're not going to get that vibe. It's going to reflect back on the hater, and yeah, you just won yourself a new fan. Can you tell us what Underground Wellness is about? Because I think you're new to most of my people.
Underground Wellness is about really coming alive. And I think that's going to be the slogan for the new website, coming alive, whether it be your health, whether it be your relationships, whether it be your finances and doing what you love to do. It's just becoming an overall really awesome person who just wakes up every day like, yo, let's do this. This is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of the journey for me. Like when I was a personal trainer and I was handling just the physical level of things, counting reps and, working on somebody's glutes, that was great, helping people lose weight and all that stuff, but there's other pieces of the puzzle that I was missing: hormones, digestion, detoxification, immune system stuff, the fact that they can't sleep, the fact that they have no libido, and all this stuff that was going on with them that I was missing. And so I incorporated that into, my model. But then as you work with people on that stuff, you start to see there's other things that are missing too. They're unhappy with their relationships. They're, not happy with what they're doing for a living. I mean, that's at least a third of your day that you're spending at work. If you hate your job, man, I don't know how people can do that all the time to themselves. That's incredibly stressful. And so, it's just just layer upon layer upon layer of, bringing people back to life. And just kind of showing them, the fitness and the good food and all that stuff's going to give you the energy, and then the recognizing your negative thoughts and, erasing them or acknowledging them and understanding where they come from and changing them really gives you the fuel, as to how your life occurs to you. And if your life occurs to you as something that you can handle because you have the energy, if it occurs to you as something that you can create some amazingly, awesome things, it's certainly possible. There's going to be some setbacks, of course, but that's part of the game, and that's to be expected, and we learn from our failures. And most successful people are the people who fail the most, and they just learn from it every time. It's much better than, not wanting to take risk and just being comfortable with your life and not doing anything.
Yeah. I like a holistic approach to kind of kicking ass. I think you have to address all the different areas of life, but you specifically started with health, and now you're branching out. I saw you're going to be doing, your YouTube videos now are going to be mostly about personal development and self-help, but then the radio show will continue on with the health theme. Is that how it's going to work?
Yep, there might be a health thing or health video sprinkled in on YouTube. Like I put up a video today with Dr. Sarah where we're cooking, a thyroid-friendly meal. But mostly it's personal development and business marketing on YouTube. I mean, I've been doing YouTube videos for so long, I don't have anything else to teach. I'm done. Like I said in my retirement video, how many different ways can you say just eat real food?
Right.
And I feel like we keep on trying to reinvent the wheel. It's like, here are just the basic things. Like most people out there aren't getting enough sleep. They're all stressed out. They're digesting their food poorly, stuff like that. Like we got to just get the average person out there back to the basics. Go to bed on time, reduce your stress, eat real food, get some exercise in. All this extremely detailed, super duper research, minutia that people are talking about these days. It's like, that's cool if you're talking to the nerds. But yes. I'm not talking to the nerds, I'm talking to my mom. It's just the average person out there who just wants to be healthy. And if they're eating, ding-dongs and ho-hos for breakfast, like if I can get them to eat some eggs and some bacon and some real food, I'm happy. Mm-hmm. And so, and then on the radio show, it's mostly health, but, we're going to sprinkle in some personal development. Like Jen Sincero is coming on the show next Tuesday to talk about her book, You Are a Badass. And so there'll be some of that stuff sprinkled in there. But YouTube's mainly personal development, business. Podcast mostly health stuff, blog posts, or whatever the hell I want them to be, and so that way I can just kind of cover all my bases, and it's fun because I don't have there's so many bloggers out there who feel like they need to have this specific niche. Mm-hmm. Like I need to talk to this exact person. Like I just tell people what I think is cool, and they tend to like it.
Yeah. And I don't want people to be fooled by your casual, approachable attitude because you have some really amazing nerd guests on your podcast, and I nerd out on them. Like, you have incredible doctors and scientists and experts that do talk about all the little details of this. And maybe this is why, but I notice you know quite a bit yourself, too. I mean, you're no schlump in that department. Is that from interviewing all these people and reading all these books? I know you have a degree in, what is it?
Kinesiology.
Yes. Sorry, I can't even say that word.
I can hold my own, and it's the consequence of or result of reading all of these books that are next to me. There's hundreds of books sitting right next to me in the shelf, and also interviewing. Including all my online summits, I've probably done about 350 interviews with experts in different fields, especially in nutrition and health. And so I know a little bit. I can hold my own, but, it's like what gives me a charge? Interviewing people and bringing those guests to the average person in a way that they can understand. Like we talk about detailed stuff on the show, but I don't feel like it's ever over my mom's head. Where she's not going to get it. I try to, jump in there and be like, hey, so you mean da-da-da-da-da, and kind of break it down so everybody gets it. That fuels me, that charges me, but making YouTube videos about health doesn't charge me up anymore. Retired. My jersey's in the rafters. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a critical, important role for people. Somebody needs to bridge the gap, because that information can be intimidating sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you do that well, people connect with it, they resonate with it, and they feel like, you're there to truly help them. As soon as you start saying words that go over their head, you lose them.
Right.
And I don't want to lose people that way.
Yeah. So what is JERF?
JERF, just eat real food. I just got done telling the story, but JERF came out of me being fed up with the blogosphere. And this was maybe 3 years ago, and it was like the blogosphere was just stupid. Like people were just out there trying to make a name for themselves by blogging about other people in the health space, like saying negative things about them. And I'm not sure if this still goes on because, to be honest, I really don't pay attention to the blogosphere anymore. I just kind of do my own thing. But it was just stupid. Like this person's beefing with this person because this one likes to eat meat, and this one says don't eat meat, and this one's a vegan. This one's, and I go, if the average person goes online and just to find out how to eat, they're just overwhelmed with just all kind of stuff, like all of these differences of opinion and all of this beef going on between people. And I just found it to be rather ridiculous. And I said to myself, to what degree am I contributing to this? Through my podcast, through my videos. And I just got to that point where I was like, you know what? F it all. Just screw all of it. I mean, Weston Price went around the world, and studied these indigenous people in 13 different countries and whatnot. Or it was different countries? Yeah, 13 different populations who ate nothing but real food. Some people had a high protein, high fat diet. Other people had a higher carbohydrate diet and a moderate fat protein diet. The diets varied considerably based on geography, climate, things like that. And they were all extremely healthy people. They didn't have dental problems. They didn't have they didn't have toothbrushes. They didn't have heart disease. They didn't have arthritis. They didn't have depression. They were rather happy people. All this stuff, and the common denominator amongst them all in terms of food was that they just ate real food. Right. Nobody counted calories. Nobody was paleo. Nobody was primal. They just ate the real food that was available to them. And so, for that person who's eating the ho-hos and ding-dongs or whatever it might be, breakfast sandwich, cereal bar, whatever, for breakfast every day, if I can get that person to just have some bacon and eggs or have some real food, like, I'm happy because they're moving in the right direction.
Right.
And I find that whenever you say, or a lot of times when you say paleo or when you say primal, you might get yourself into an evolutionary debate with somebody. Mm-hmm. Or you might get into some debate about, cavemen only lived to be, 18 years old or whatever it may be. And it's like, I want nothing to do with that. I'd rather be doing something else than debating evolution with somebody and how old freaking caveman lived to be, right?
Yes.
And so I just say, just eat real food. And I don't think that there's any way that people can go, no, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, no, that's wrong. It's like, it's just real food. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's real food. So Jerf, like, I was on, Instagram yesterday, and I was going through and I saw the Jerf hashtag, and I clicked on it, and there was like 110,000 pictures on Instagram with the hashtag Jerf, and I was like, that's awesome.
That is so fun, and you sell really T-shirts too.
I sell T-shirts. I own the word. Like, I have multiple trademarks on that word. Like, I own the word jerf.
That's so fun. It's a great way to, like, back out of the dogma wars. I was a raw vegan for a time, and then I got into, like, that just didn't work for me. And I started eating meat, and it was interesting, like, the way people would attack me. And I wasn't a spiritual person because I was eating meat. And so I completely relate to what you're talking about. And I have a program that gets people off the standard American diet, and it's really similar to Jerf. It's just the first step before you get into all of those crazy different diets is to eat real food. That is the common denominator. So that's what I try to teach people. And, we are all different. So we have different bodies and heritages, and you really have to approach it from an individual basis after you start eating real food.
Yes, have to eat real food. I try to simplify things as best I can. I don't want to make anything too complicated. Once you start making things complicated, people kind of tune out. So just keep it simple. Just eat real food. I think jerfing is going to be a really big deal one day. I think once this whole paleo thing, because everything kind of like, gets big and then it dies down. And I'm not wishing death upon paleo by any means. Some of my best friends are in the paleo movement. But I honestly see at some point people are going to go, you know what? Why am I reading 50 million diet books? Like, I should just eat real food. Period.
Very good. It's like the twerking of the food world. I don't know.
I like it.
And you have a book called The Dark Side of Fat Loss. Are you going to be coming out with something maybe that is in the realm of personal development that way? Can you tell us, first of all, what The Dark Side of Fat Loss is about?
The Dark Side of Fat Loss is my journey in learning all of this stuff. It's basically what we call the bullet train of like the first maybe 150 radio shows, really like the stuff that I learned. When I was a personal trainer, the early years when I was preaching food guide pyramid and all that stuff, 6 to 11 servings of, gluten containing grains and low fat and eat your soy and don't eat your eggs. Nobody was getting the results that they were looking for, and I wasn't getting the results myself. And so I decided to start reading things that were counter to what I had learned in college. And that's what I consider the dark side. And it's all about getting out of the box because, what's inside of that box is diet and exercise. You know, it's like the solution for everything. You know, just diet and exercise, diet and exercise. But you know, there's so many other pieces to the puzzle. And you know, like I said earlier, hormones, digestion, detoxification, immune system. So I just show people, you know, what those other pieces of the puzzle have to do not only with your health, but also fat loss. You know, the main point of the book is that you don't lose fat to get healthy. You get healthy to lose fat, you know, long term. And that's so critical for a lot of people. And, you know, if you're coming to me and you want to lose 20 pounds, but, you know, you've got bad digestion, you've got a poor libido, you got, you know, brain fog, you've got depression, anxiety, all of this stuff. You know, if I helped you to lose 20 pounds on a calorie restricted diet, okay, you'll weigh 20 pounds less, but at the same time, you'll still have all these problems.
Right.
Where are they coming from? I'll just give you a quick example. Your liver may be toxic, right? You have a toxic liver, 60% of your thyroid hormone gets converted in your liver, so it becomes like active thyroid hormone that, you know, boosts your metabolism and stuff like that. Well, if your liver's backed up, it cuts into that thyroid hormone conversion, and you're not going to be burning as much fat as you want to. You know, people who have long-term digestive problems typically have hormonal problems, which usually 95% of the time ends up with low testosterone. So if you got low testosterone, you're not going to be able to put on muscle, and you're going to have a really hard time losing fat. So digestive problems many times have to do with the appearance of your body. You're creating a hormonal situation in your body that is conducive to gaining weight. So we have to, like, you know, get out of the box and say, okay, calories in, calories out is not going to cure my digestive issue. Let's go see what's going on. Let's go find the root cause, and, you know, the body will follow.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you'll be writing another book? I've heard you say it was like a challenge getting this book out, like to sit down and write the book, which I totally relate to.
Yeah, it was a process. It was a start and stop type of thing, and, you know, finally I got it done. You know, with some help. You know, I got the right support and, you know, accountability, and I got the right team to do all this stuff for me. Because when you try to do everything yourself, you know, things don't really work out so well. And yeah, so in the future, I don't really see myself writing a book anytime soon. I'm just not interested in it for some reason. I do see myself writing maybe some short, you know, 10 to 30 page, you know, reports on different things having to do with, like, I have this idea right now for creating like a little PDF for people who want to make money online through affiliate products. So, you know, getting your website, you know, interviewing people, putting out online content, building that trust and credibility with your audience to the point where you don't have to create your own product. You can actually just promote other people's stuff. Like, half of my income comes from promoting, you know, B School, ITN, functional diagnostic nutrition, you know, all of this stuff that I promote throughout the year, you know, always good stuff, you know what I'm saying, that people like, that they find certainly useful for them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So let's say this has been like a 7-year journey, although I know you were a personal trainer before you started on YouTube. So when did you start learning to reach out to other people? How long were you trying to, like, juggle all the balls in the air yourself before you were like, I need help?
It was about 3 years or so. A couple friends of mine, just so it was a weird thing in my life. I just kind of, right people kind of show up in my life at the right time. It's pretty trippy. But one of my clients, Alex, he lived in Michigan at the time, and we were on the phone. And somewhere during that call, and granted, it's so weird because I couldn't find Alex's number that day, so I was at my mom's house in the Bay Area, so I had no way to contact him, and so we had an appointment, right? And so I'm looking online, you know, see if I can find any contact information for him, and I saw all these basketball training programs. And I was like, what is this about? This is pretty cool, you know. And I had 40,000 YouTube subscribers at the same time, but I wasn't making any money. And so Alex finally calls me, and we're talking. And at some point, he says he's moving to San Diego. And, you know, I sat on it for a second. We got to the end of our call. And I was like, yeah, man, I saw these basketball training programs. What's up with that? He's like, yeah, dude, I met this guy, Elliot Hulse, and he showed me how to do this, that, and the other, da-da-da-da. And I was in college, and I dropped out of college, and I started making these basketball training programs, and I make such and such amount of money per month, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, really? And then I was like, you said you're moving to San Diego, right? He's like, yeah, I'm moving to this place called Strata, downtown San Diego, 3 blocks away from me. It was crazy. Wow. And he's like, yo, I'm moving in with this guy, David Sinek, who runs Paleo Hacks now. And I was like, I know David. I met Dave just randomly when I was visiting a friend in New York. And so I started hanging out with them, and they just kind of showed me the ropes. You know, it's like some Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they just like showed me how to use a lightsaber and stuff. And so they showed me marketing, showed me how to build a team, and I just followed directions. And so now, you know, things are kind of rolling along. And now, like next year, I'm going to release something called the Underground Method, which is going to be like an online business training program for, you know, people who want to build online businesses. But that's about a year away or so.
Wow, I know my people will be interested in that for sure, because a lot of people are at that beginning phase and trying to do something similar and then going like, I have no money.
Can I say something about that? We have so many free platforms. It's not really about having money. I think that's a big misconception. WordPress blog is free from what I understand, or a Tumblr account, or a Blogspot account, whatever it is. You can do a Blog Talk Radio show, a half hour, every day of the week, except for primetime hours, for free. You know, if you want primetime hours and a longer show, it's like $29, $39 a month, right? YouTube is free. YouTube will pay you. Blog Talk will pay you. You know what I'm saying? For ads, revenue sharing, and whatnot. Google Ads will pay you. People landing on your site and clicking the ads. And so you really don't need a lot of money to make this happen. When I started making YouTube videos, I was sending people to my MySpace page. I didn't have a website. I just made a MySpace page. So people always get like caught up thinking they need this. They need to have their website. They need to have the other. They need to start making their product, which you don't want to do. Do not make your product right now. Do not even think about making your product right now. Right now, you need to think about getting your content out there and building trust and credibility with your audience, because people like to buy from people who they feel like they know, they like, and they trust. So work on that right now. Yeah. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't say, I got to wait till I get done with such and such course to do it. Just start creating your content. You are an expert in what you know, and you will never know everything that you think you should know before you get started. So start doing it. You don't need money. You just start putting out effing content. I have this conversation all the time.
Love it.
With my B schoolers. I promote Marie Forleo's B School course every year, and so I do these free coaching calls for people who buy through me, and I feel like I'm just on repeat with this all the time, because they're always just waiting for that perfect opportunity. It's like, the opportunity is never going to be perfect. Let's get off the phone right now and you do your blog post. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you so much for repeating that for all of us too. I appreciate it.
But it's just real. And, we all have to deal with our fears and stuff. And I'll even tell you, I'll keep it real with you. I get freaked out every single podcast. I get freaked out every single time I put publish. I click publish when I do a blog post. I get freaked out every single time I do a YouTube video and turn on that camera. Every single time. But I just do it anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because that fear, that false evidence appearing real, never really turns out to be what I thought it would be. It always goes over a lot better than I thought it would. It's just your mind is going to always mess with you. But when you when you accept it and you acknowledge that that devil is always going to be sitting on your shoulder, hating on you in your ear, telling you all the bad stuff that's going to happen if you get outside of your comfort zone. If you acknowledge that, I think it really takes you a long way, and you embrace it, and it's just like, this is part of me, and it's okay. I don't have to listen to it. Yeah. And that's so big. I mean, there should be a course on that. Like, it should be like a 1 hour course that says just effing do it, and you've got 2 hours after this freaking course right now to do it and send me what you come up with. Just to get people going. I feel like I could talk about this all day. I feel like when you get in the habit of creating content, that's when things start to take off for you, because that's step number one. Mm-hmm. Step number two, which might be getting your website up. They move into step number three, which might be, capturing email addresses and things like that. They move into step number four. And step number four, and sorry, I'm talking your ear off right now.
No, I love it. Keep going.
Step number four is this. It's communicating with your followers. Through your forum, through your Facebook page, through your Twitter, inviting them to email you, building your tribe and listening to your tribe. Because here's the thing. people always think, like, as soon as they get into it, or as soon as they start thinking about getting into it, how am I going to monetize? How am I going to monetize? What's my product going to be? What am I going to do? What am I going to sell? Don't worry about it right now. Talk to your people, and they will tell you what they want you to produce for them. Mm-hmm. Because what a lot of people do is they create a product that nobody asked for, and if nobody asks for it and you put it out, no one's going to buy it. They didn't ask for it, right? So talk to your people, see what those common denominators are. Also, before you make your product, promote affiliate stuff that you really believe in, and use that as data. Use that as research. I've sold about $350,000 gross in online business training programs over this last year. What does that tell me? That tells me that my list is very responsive to online business training programs, and I should put together something like that myself down the road, right?
Right.
If you're in fitness and, your list buys the truth about abs from you through your affiliate link, maybe that tells you should create an abdominal product. And so you have to look at that and use it for data, use it for research, and then you create your product. But don't put the cart before the horse, because the last thing you want to do is write a book and not have a customer list.
I love it.
I just went off right there. Sorry.
It was awesome. Thank you. And this whole month I've devoted to business. I do a little series called BizWitch. So I love that little rant you just went on, because that's going to help so many people. It's perfect. It's perfect. And you've given us so many great tips, but I have to ask, because I always ask at the end of every interview, like, what is your one tip for creating the kick-ass life of your dreams? Just in general. Not about business, not about health, just in general,
Find friends who support you. When you hang out with people, not even so much friends that support you. Find friends who are interested in what you're interested in and who are on the same journey as you, if not a little bit above you right now. I didn't start making money and making an impact until I started hanging out with people who were making money and who were making an impact. They say that your income is the average of the 5 people you hang out with, most frequently, and that's so true in my life and in most people's lives. And, reach out to people who are in your space and, create mastermind groups, do some Google Hangouts with them if you don't live close to each other. Spend as much time with them as you can, because you start to vibe off each other, you motivate each other. And like in my case, when I was hanging out with the 22-year-old guys who were making far more money than I was, it put me as the low guy in the totem pole. So it was like, yo, I'm trying to get up there with you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, now like my circle, is the same guys, but I also hang out with like a lot of millionaires. Like I know a lot of millionaires. Not millionaires for just being the sake of millionaires, but being millionaires in exchange for how much service they put out there. Right? And so it's just you just keep climbing. You just keep climbing, and you just find yourself in rooms with like awesome, powerful, impactful people, but you have to get outside of your social group sometimes. Not kick your friends to the curb, but just maybe spend a little less time with those friends and find some new friends who are in that same world as you.
Yeah, you are an awesome, inspiring, impactful person, Sean. So thank you for sharing your life and your journey with all of us on your radio show and your YouTube videos, and especially today for coming here to talk to me. I so appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. That flew by. That was so fast.
I know.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk some more.
Yeah. Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Much love. Peace.